Hey, what's up everybody? This is Dano, aka Danyala. I'm here to make another video. This time I am making a video about the Knave. I believe their name is the Knave Knowles. I believe I've seen a few videos of theirs before. Because all these swirling videos always pop up in my fucking feed for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, anyways, this is an interracial couple, black female, white male, and yeah, as you see right there in the title of the video, they are getting a divorce. See, this is what me and other people, other black people, black women and men say, that jumping on the other side of the fence, swirling, does not solve your problems. Black men, black women, jumping the fence, I'm gonna say it again, jumping the fence does not fix your problems. You know, there's this big misconception with black women who swirl. They always have this argument that white men make better husbands. They're just overall, in general, better men, which is completely bullshit. And black men, they don't really have an excuse why they date white girls. It's just brothers who date white girls are just natural coons, point blank, period. At least the sisters have some type of excuse why they date white men or non-black men. I mean, it's still bullshit, but still, at least they have some type of excuse, you know what I'm saying? But on the other hand, when it comes to black men, most of them don't have a fucking excuse. They do it just because it's just full-on self-hate. And the thing is, with men, we don't express ourselves as much as women do. You don't see our emotions on our sleeves like women do. Women are way more boisterous about how they feel, and they're way more emotional. That's just how women are, and that's what makes them amazing. But us men, you know, we don't always talk about self-hate. You know, even though black men don't, you know, say, oh, the reason why I date white women is because black girls never give me a chance, blah blah blah, or because I have self-hatred. You don't hear that too much from, or I have insecurities about my dark skin, blah blah blah. You don't hear that from black men. And it's just because we're different from women, but you hear that from black women. You know what I'm saying? Or talking about dating up or marrying up. You don't hear that from black men. You hear that mostly from black women. But anyways, this video is going to be directed a little bit more towards the sisters who swirl, because this right here flies right up in the face of their bullshit rhetoric that the grass is greener on the other side, and the other side being dating non-black men. I know that whatever I say may not change swirlers' minds. Hey, that's them. But I'm making this video to prove, to use him as an example, his situation as an example, that white men are not these perfect gods among other men, other races of men who are solely out here to be good husbands, good fathers, providers, and all that stuff. That's not true. I watched this guy's video, and he basically was saying that the reason why him and his wife is getting divorced is because he is not happy with her. That was basically the base of what he was saying. So he's been cheating on her. He's been starting, I wouldn't say starting shit, but he's been intentionally doing things out of his ego and pride, and simply because he's not happy with his situation. And mind you, this guy has 4 children with this woman. And what I found to be real pathetic was that even with everything that is going on, this woman still wants to be with him. Now, I can somewhat understand why, and you know, even look, from what I got from what he said, she was basically forgiving this guy for all the shit that he did over all these years. I'm guessing this guy's probably in his early 30s. They've been married since they were 19. So probably over 10 years they've been married, and he said even in the beginning that that he was doing shit, you know, intentionally out of ego and pride and all this other shit, like fucking up, intentionally fucking up, cheating, doing all this stuff. And she's been dealing with this for all these years. See, sisters that swirl, they try to make it seem like it's perfect, that Dana White man is perfect, you know, all that crazy bullshit. And they always like to talk about the divorce rates, that, you know, black women who marry black men and divorce rates aren't as high as black men dating white women and all this shit. I have not seen those statistics, and I really don't give a fuck about the statistics, if they are real or if they're not. But the thing is that, yeah, black women who marry white guys don't have picture perfect relationships. They just don't. Because what they fail to realize is that white men are men also. They're not these perfect guys that people like Crystal and Karazan like to put out. They're not. Because I can assure you that Crystal and Karazan has issues with her marriage. I could put money on it. And that's probably why she acts the way she does, because she's frustrated, and then she redirects her anger towards black men and black women who aren't down with Swirling. But yeah, I mean, this is what happens. This is what happens. You get the same fucking type of treatment. You know, one of the excuses of black women dating white guys is that, oh, all black men are dogs and blah blah blah, they're not good fathers. Well, if this man was a good father, you know what he would do? He would say, fuck how I feel. It's all about raising these babies, and then once when they go off to college and stuff, then I could do my thing. But he even said it so many times that what he's doing is selfish. Even though he loves his family, he said this, even though he loves his family, and I stress that, he still is doing this out of selfishness. And yet this woman still want to put up with him. Now I can understand somewhat wanting to put up with him, because I'm even saying like, hey, he should divorce her. Even though I don't condone Swirling, but he has already laid in his bed, which is her. He already laid up in her, had 4 kids with her. I can assure you that any self-respecting black man would not want to deal with her. Maybe even any self-respecting white guy would not want to deal with her, because white guys don't deal with women who already has kids, and that's majority of the time. And I just think it's best for the kids, you know, for them to stay together and deal with it. But even after all these years of him hurting her intentionally, she still wants to be with him, and she's taking him to counseling and all this other shit just to try to make it work out. And see, I think if the statistic is true about black women, divorce rates being lower than black men with white women, I'm talking about black women with white men, and just white men. If that's true, it's probably because I've noticed this in relationships with black women who date white men. It's not so much the same thing with black men who date white women, but I noticed that women, it's just natural in women to want to please their men. And I noticed, especially when black women date white men, they kiss their fucking ass, ball sack, whatever the fuck, whatever the white man wants. They do some extreme fucking ass kissing. It's not the same thing with black men dating white women. And I'm not saying that to big up black men, because they're just as bad in the situation. I don't condone either at all. But men, we have this ego thing about us, to where if a woman, we feel like if a woman don't want us, hey, fuck that bitch. That's how we feel. That's the type of attitude we have. So we're driven off of ego. We will leave relationships so much easier than a woman would, because of ego and pride. Even though it may hurt us, deep down inside, we can move on. On the outside, we can move on so much better than women do, because we have this ego thing about, we're like, fuck it, you know, man, I can go get pussy somewhere else. That's how most guys think. So when it comes to a black man with a white woman, you know, he's like, fuck this bitch, she's cheating on me, okay, I'm gone. But a black woman with a white guy, there is extreme ass kissing, because they're not the same thing. They're not they're not prideful like how men are. So naturally, that woman's touch kicks in, but also she's a bad wench at the same time, so it makes it even worse. But it's really pathetic when you listen to the story. This dude is a complete asshole. He's a narcissistic dude who says he cares about his family, but he doesn't, because he's still going through with the divorce. See, the problem is him. And his excuse for divorcing her is because he believes it's the best thing to do. No, I really think the best thing to do in this situation is to try to mend your relationship with your wife and stop fucking up, because you're intentionally doing it. It's not like, you know, it's not like things that he's doing is an accident and he just has the worst luck. No, he's intentionally doing this shit. He said this shit himself. He's out here cheating. He's out here doing all this other shit. And you know, I would really like to see who the woman is that he's cheating with, because if she's white, I would die of laughter. Because that happens quite often, where, you know, white men who date black women, they just get fed up with black women, and it's usually nothing wrong with what the black woman is doing. It's just that they want to get back to their own kind. Just like this guy said, he says that she's perfect, like she's the best human being, the smartest human being he's ever met, yet he's still fooling around with her. So that's men in general. I'm not saying that a black man would do her better. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying this is how men behave. And my point of this video was to dispel the bullshit that white men are the better prizes. Yeah, white men, they do have, you know, when it comes to financial worth, yeah, more white guys are worth more than black guys when it comes to the financial aspect, because it's so much easier to survive in this society and be successful in this society as a white man than as a black man. I mean, coming from black communities, there's a lot of chips stacked against us. Not saying that we can't make it out, but it's much harder. So this is why white men are more financially stable in their 30s than black men are. But still, at the same time, that doesn't make it right to date outside of a race. You know what I'm saying? Really, my intentions of making these videos to dispel the bullshit that jumping a fence will work out for you, whether you're a black male or a black female. Men are men. White men cheat. White men are no better than black men. You know, the only thing that you will probably get out of a relationship better than you will for black men is that you would probably most likely get with a guy who's more financially stable, simply because this is their society. They rigged the game to where they are more likely to be more financially stable and successful than really any other race of people. But anyways, so that's basically all I have to say. All you swirlers are full of bullshit. I've been saying this shit for years, that men are men, and jumping a fence is not gonna fix your problem. You may find some white guy who's gonna talk nice to you and treat you like a queen, and treat you like a woman, and you felt like you ran to a place where you're appreciated and not tolerated. That bullshit swirlers saying, I hate that shit because it's bullshit. You know, that's complete bullshit. You know, go where you're appreciated and not tolerated. That's bullshit, because the thing is that a lot of these people, a lot of these white men, yeah, they will take a black woman on, but it's because it's a fetish. It's a fucking fetish thing. And it's the same thing with black men and white women. It's a fetish. And it's a fetish on both sides of the fence. I'm not saying that just only the white guy has a fetish, because these black women who date white guys, they also have a fetish for white men also. Same thing with black men who date white women. They have a fetish for white women, just like the white woman has a fetish for them. But the thing is that a relationship cannot last on a fucking fetish. It just can't. Um, and I believe that's probably what's going on with this shit. He had his fill of a Negro, of the Negro bed wench coochie, whatever. I don't know if she's a bed wench, but whatever. He had his fill on it. You know, he got 4 children out of it, and he's just not happy. He said this. He's not happy. So it sounds like he rushed into it because he got married when he was real young. And it sounds like he rushed into it, head first. Probably based off of a fucking fetish. And now he's seeing his options out here. And see, that's probably what it is. Tariq Nasheed talks about this in his videos, how people who cheat in their later years were people who weren't players when they were younger. They didn't have that player in them when they were young. They didn't mess around with multiple girls, blah blah blah. And that's probably seems like what's going on with him now, because now since he's older, he's probably able to do more things. Now he sees his options. Now he sees what he has missed out on, or what he's missing out on, because like I said, he got married at a young age. There's probably a lot of things that he didn't do that he always wanted to do. This is why people need to slow down with the whole marriage thing at a young age. I actually have my brother's cousin, my youngest brother's cousin. She got married at 17. I think she was like 17 or 18 years old. She got married straight out of high school. And I just know that a divorce is coming very soon in the future, because a lot of people who get married at a young age nowadays, people who get married under 20, their marriages usually never last. They usually never last. This is not the 1930s where people are actually dependable and trustworthy and things like that. Now today is just so much temptation. So much temptation. And getting married that young, anchoring yourself down that young, and having kids that young, it's just too much. Those are the people who act out later on in life. The people who never had freedom. And then once when they get to a level, especially when people become financially stable, and they have now they have options, and they're older, and they're saying that they missed out so much stuff, then that's when they start acting out. Because if you notice, a lot of people who act out are people who got locked down with kids or marriage at a very young age. So, anyways, I've been talking on for a while. Swirling does not work. Does not work. Jump on the other side of the fence, you're gonna find the same thing that you originally seen on the other side of the fence that you jumped from. That's all I have to say. Peace out, shalom, and kwam yashala.